Hello and welcome to the Freya Savage podcast with your host, Freya Savage. This is the podcast where we dive into the attitude, the mindset, and the strategy required to live a fully self-actualized life. When I say self-actualized, I'm referring to our own potential of ideal freedom, limitless wealth, and perfect creative expression. After working as an investment analyst and financial advisor for over 10 years in a very corporate environment, I quit that life and I created my own money and business school. Very quickly, I was making over 5-figure months, working as much as I wanted, generally looked around 3 hours a day. And just by being me, by creating transformational content, just by being me. So my mission is to live a fully lived life, which I feel like I'm already doing. Of course, there is always room to go deeper and go higher. And part of that vehicle for me is to empower other women to rise up to their potential through financial education, business mentoring, and spiritual guidance. So if you enjoy this episode, go ahead and take a screenshot and share it with anyone you think might benefit. And if you share it on social media, go ahead and tag me. Okay, let's dive in. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by AussieAscension.com. Aussie Ascension delivers fine, exotic health food products from around the world right to your door. They are distributors for Lead Superfood, which I personally love. They make vegan coconut milk creamers. They have all different flavors. My favorite is the unsweetened one, which I like to have in the morning with raw cacao and a blend of adaptogen mushrooms, and I mix it up together with some almond milk or some coconut milk, and it is really, really fine. I quit coffee a few years ago now and don't even notice it when I have this. They are also suppliers of Energy Bits. Energy Bits are the highest quality chlorella and spirulina in the world, I would say. I'm biased. I love this stuff. And they're in tablet form. And then they also stock Primal Herbs, which is my favorite of adaptogen mixes. The one that I like is the memory and cognitive support that's called Neuro Shroom. You can go ahead and order directly from Aussie Ascension by going to AussieAscension.com. That's AussieAscension.com. Right now, I have my calendar open for free mini one-on-one strategy sessions. The reason why I have done this, which I have not done for at least a year, is because I'm just enjoying the conversations that I'm having so much with my audience right now. I'm having so many inspirational conversations with women. So if there's anything that you want to work on together, be that business, wealth, love, or health, and self-actualizing those areas, you're welcome to book in a session with me. It's totally free. There is no obligation at all. If it feels like a fit, I will ask permission if you want to talk about working together, but that is not the goal of the call at all. The goal is to fully support you in whatever areas of life you feel like you could use with some expanding right now. So if you'd like to go ahead and book in a call with me, we will put the link in the show notes below. This offer is not always available. I don't know when I'm going to close off this offer again, but it's open for at least the next week. So go ahead and take that opportunity if that feels right for you. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to jump on today and talk about what is going to happen in the future in terms of financial markets. How are things going to look? What does it mean for us as consumers who buy things? Will we be using money? Will we be using cryptocurrency? What should we be investing in? Where is a place that we can right now keep our money and grow our money that's safe, that is secure, that is also betting on the future? what is happening right now, because things are moving really fast and it's really uncertain about what things are going to look like in 5 years, maybe even 1 year. It's kind of a little bit unsure. There's a lot of uncertainty. There is an investor that I follow, and when I worked in finance, he was kind of the investor that I regarded the most highly in terms of his thoughts. And he says 2021 was the year of living dangerously, and I believe that continues on to that in 2022. And the reason for that is because of the uncertainty that is here right now. We just don't know how things are going to turn out. We don't know what the economy is going to do. We don't know if things are going to lock down and there's going to be a crisis. People are not going to be spending. People are not going to be working. There's going to be a crash. The economy is going to suffer, or it's going to boom. People are going to be confident. Things are going to continue to grow. Countries are going to do really well with exports. We just don't know how it's going to look. It's so dependent on circumstances that we cannot really foresee. So what does this mean in terms of how we should be protecting ourselves financially and where we should be putting our money? Should we even be using money? Should we be putting our assets in money? Is money even going to be a thing? Or if we keep our assets in money, is our wealth going to be totally eroded because money's not even going to be a thing anymore? And so should we buy crypto? Then we hear about people who are buying crypto and investing in crypto. And then it feels like, okay, well, they're making a lot of money, so I hear. So should I be investing in that? And it's kind of really convoluted and complicated and murky because we're really in an incubation stage of so many things. So it's hard to see where all this is going to go. But, I definitely do have some foresight, and I can share that with you. And that is what I wanted to share with you, to give you a little more clarity on how I believe and I'm fairly certain that things will look in the future. Of course, I don't know, what's going to happen in the next year. I can't tell you that. I don't know if markets are going to boom or if there's going to be a crash. This is also why I teach people when they invest, they don't invest for the short term, because we don't know what's going to happen. Trying to time the market is a really bad idea. And even the professionals get it wrong most of the time. When we look at professional investors, fund managers who are active investors, we call an active investor somebody who tries to pick companies that are going to go up, who tries to see where the economy is going, and they base their purchases on their own assumptions. They get it wrong 70% of the time. And these are people who work full time. Often they've gone to Ivy League schools. They are working really long hours. This is fully what they're dedicated to, and they get it wrong 70% of the time. So, it's not that you're unintelligent it's not that you're unintelligent if you get it wrong, because even the people who do this as professionals, they get it wrong most of the time. So I do it the way that is simple, that is essentially guarantees a return. But to do that, to reduce risk, you have to have time, and you have to be committed to staying in the market and not looking at what's going on around you too much and not paying too much attention to the noise. But when there are really clear signals, like right now, there is a really clear signal that the world is changing in terms of our financial system, that people are demanding deregulation, and there is new technology coming out that is going to revolutionize the way businesses do business. It's going to revolutionize the way that we transact, and that is the blockchain. Blockchain is an incredible technology, and it's not just about cryptocurrency. Blockchain will change the way businesses do business. Like B2B business will totally change, because in the way that they do contracts, it is going to create so much more efficiency for the businesses that we see today. A lot of them are already using this technology. So it's a lot bigger than actually just cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is so interesting because right now, the currencies that we're seeing that we know about, they are decentralized, which there's no middleman, they're not regulated by a government. And this is exciting for us. We get to, it means that there's kind of this freedom for the people. And I love this. I really, really love this. And it's pressure to the government to say, hey, this is where we want to be taking the world. This is how we want to be, exchanging and transferring. We want it to be easy. We want it to be effective. We want it to be simple. We don't want to be controlled by the government, and we want to be fairly unregulated. The government, the central banks around the world are scrambling, because they can see that this is where things are going. Initially when crypto came out, it was like, oh, whatever, let's just let it run. This is not going to be a thing. And now clearly it's going to be a thing. Clearly it is a thing. And in fact, it is going to take over. I see it's going to take over money. We are no longer going to use money anymore. In the future, it's all going to be based on the blockchain. However, don't get too excited and go and buy cryptocurrencies. The reason for this is this area is going to be highly regulated. The governments are going to come in and they're going to wipe out a lot of these currencies that are totally decentralized and unregulated. So we already saw this, Facebook created a cryptocurrency. Telegram created a cryptocurrency. Just got wiped out by the government. They can do that. So there is huge risks, huge regulation risks when you're looking at investing in these currencies. Yet at the same time, if you pick the right one, you're going to get a huge payoff. But to pick the right one, that is going to be really, really difficult. And honestly, that's something that I'm not even going to bother with. I'm going to invest the way that I know that works, and I'm going to invest knowing that there is so much uncertainty. I don't know how things are going to turn out in the short term. Knowing that there are going to be much more currencies, cryptocurrencies, that are going to be birthed. And knowing that central banks are going to be creating their own currencies. So the world is going to change. The landscape is going to change massively. A lot of the currencies that are around right now, the cryptocurrencies, are not going to be there. So if you're an active trader, and you're trading every day and you're looking at what's going on and you're trading based on emotions, because most investors who are investing in cryptocurrency are, I'm not trying to be offensive, but they're uneducated investors. They're investors who invest based on emotions, based on stories. I even noticed that some of the currencies, there is pyramid schemes where you get paid a commission for selling currencies to the same currencies to other people. There is these weird financial products packaged up. And, I had someone reach out to me because I'm a big fan of investing in businesses. And the reason for that is because they actually sell something, they make a profit. They have tangible underlying assets. And someone said to me, yeah, but this currency pays an income. And I thought, how the hell does a currency pay an income? Because it's not producing anything. And then I went and looked at it, and it's this debt pyramid scheme where it literally is just borrowing money and then paying the interest to those who, it's borrowing money, and then with that borrowed money pays out interest. It's eventually going to collapse. I mean, there's no way that it can continue on. It only continues on because other people continue to buy it. It's going to collapse. So someone's written that Dodge was supposed to be the sky, it's in the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, I mean, I actually don't pay too much attention to the different currencies because I know this. I've seen it before. I mean, even though I look young, got great skincare. No, it's a filter. But I am kind of young. I worked been in finance for 13 years. I studied economics and finance. I've studied a lot of these different market cycles and also human behavior. So I know that I can see that, yes, some people might get rich quickly investing in this way. Sure, but it's luck. And eventually you will get burnt. And yes, cryptocurrency will be the future. So going back to this question, should we be using, are we going to be losing our value if we keep our assets in money? No, because I see what will happen is governments, each country will have their own currency. And eventually the governments will start to they'll start to reduce the amount of money in circulation, and they'll be just exchanging your money for crypto. So you're not going to lose your value. Yes, you need to consider things like inflation. Of course, you lose value when you're investing just in cash based on inflation. It's going to be the same with cryptocurrency. So the other thing I wanted to speak a little bit about here is the dot-com bubble and the parallels to what is happening right now with the dot-com bubble. So in the 1990s, people got really excited about the internet. It was new and it was so exciting. You just built a website and then you put things for sale there and people came and bought it. And people were so excited about this idea. They saw, wow, we can make a lot of money from this. And there was a lot of stories and there was a lot of emotion and a lot of future envisioning based on what can this do in the future rather than based on actual fundamentals. And then we saw a huge crash, a huge sell-off for these tech companies in around 2002. And the index lost around 78% of its value. So those who were invested lost about 78%, and they didn't get it back. A lot of these companies crashed and burned because they actually didn't have any underlying fundamentals. They actually weren't making a profit. They had a great story. There was the excitement around it. This is the future, but they didn't actually have anything tangible underneath it. Some of them did continue on. Amazon was one of them. They continued to survive. It evolved, and look at where it is today. And it will be the same with cryptocurrency as well. Some will survive. I will survive. And these ones that will survive, they will do really well. But betting on which one is going to be really difficult. And honestly, it's a place that I just don't involve myself in. With clients who want to invest in the crypto space, I say, sure, use it as play money. Invest 10% max of your assets into crypto or into active funds or into private investments or into IPOs. Just do 10% and play, so you're prepared to lose that money, and that money might also skyrocket. You're taking a large amount of risk. So that's what I would suggest. And what else did I want to say? Does anyone have any questions who are joining? So a lot of you are joining, which is great to see you all on here. I'm just seeing what the time is. Yeah, okay. So there is one other thing I wanted to speak about, and maybe I should do a whole live on this, and that's valuations and how to actually value a company or value any asset at all. So I want to, when we talk about stories, and it's the behavioral science, especially now that we're seeing more investors invest who are not they're uneducated investors, and so they're investing not based on fundamentals. They're not actually looking at the numbers. They're looking at the emotion, the story behind it, and getting really excited about it, which is driving up the price a lot higher than actually its underlying value. So then you might say, well, that's still the value, right? Because then the demand's going up, even though it might not actually reflect the underlying value of that business. And when we look at a business or any kind of asset, the way we value it is we backdate their future cash flows. So we use an assumption of growth, and we calculate what their future cash flow is going to be, or what their profit's going to be, and then we backdate it to today's day, and we can find out how much that company is actually worth. So that's how you actually value a business or value an asset. That's why when I look at crypto, I think, okay, well, there is no future cash flow. It's not creating it. It's not going to have a profit. The only valuation, it's based on what other people are going to pay for it. There is nothing else there to it, just like a currency, which to me is, if I'm using a currency like cash, I want it to be stable. I don't invest in a currency. I use it for transactional purposes. And then I have my cash in one pool, which is for short-term purchases. And then in another pool, I have investments, which are long-term, and that moves like this. And when I look at crypto, it's not really either or. It doesn't really fit in either box. And I'm all for things being out of the box, but it doesn't make logical sense. It's both based on emotion. We look at some other emotional assets, and there are some companies like Tesla, for example, that people have just gotten totally carried away with, and the valuation of Tesla it's estimated to be 1 trillion over what it's actually worth. So the valuation is actually about 70% or 80% less than its actual what people are paying for it today. And people are paying that much for it because of the excitement behind it, the excitement behind the story, because they know Eckhart, I was going to say Eckhart Tolle. Imagine if he was the CEO of Tesla. And today, we are going to be present and in the now. No. Maybe he would run a really great business though. So this is highly overvalued. And like I said before, well, if people are paying for that, then wouldn't we invest in it? Because then it can still go up more, because more people are going to go into it. Eventually what happens when we price assets is, yes, in the short term, they generally, they can move outside of their intrinsic value, their actual value, but eventually they'll level off. So that is what will eventually happen with these currencies, with stocks like Tesla, with anything, even stocks that are undervalued. This is Warren Buffett's technique, and he's one of the most successful investors in the world, is he buys companies that are undervalued. So it's the same, but in the opposite direction, where people are out of love with particular companies because of their stories, and he does the fundamentals on it, and he says, oh, well, that's actually undervalued, and right now it's a low price, but I know that eventually it's going to catch up to its intrinsic value, and then I'm going to make money from it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions or any thoughts, I love to read them. Please drop them in below. And I will see you guys later. Also, if there's anything you want me to talk about, I'm really open to suggestions. And yeah, all right, see you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If it resonated with you, go ahead and take a screenshot and share it with someone else who you think it might be of benefit for. If you share it on social media, I would absolutely love if you could tag me. My handle is Freya_Savage_. If you want to see what I have going on, you can subscribe to my mailing list. Go ahead and head to my website, freyasavage.com. I'm also very active on Facebook on my business page, which is also Freya Savage. I hope to see you around. Feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to a long and prosperous relationship together.